Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So Amit has asked me to speak on actually an advanced topic. So this topic is introduced here by this excerpt from my spiritual master, Srila Prabhupada. Please try to hear. If one is sincere, he or she is initiated. And this stage is called bhajana kriya. One then actually engages in the service of the Lord by regularly chanting the Hare Krishna mantra. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare. Chanting 16 rounds daily and refraining from illicit sex, intoxicants, meat eating, and gambling. By this bhajana kriya, one attains freedom from the contamination of materialistic life. One no longer goes to a restaurant or hotel to taste so-called palatable dishes made with meat and onions, nor does one care to smoke or drink tea or coffee. One not only refrains from illicit sex, but avoids sex life entirely. Nor is one interested in wasting time in speculating and gambling. In this way, it is to be understood that one is becoming cleansed of unwanted things. Anartha nivṛtti. Everybody say? Anartha nivṛtti. So that's the topic Amit asked. Of course, this is postgraduate study. The word anartha refers to unwanted things. Anarthas are vanquished when one becomes attached to the Krishna consciousness movement. So, the things that Prabhupada was mentioning is based on a famous verse, which the process begins and where it ends. The end of the process is love of God. That is actually the perfection of religion. Whatever religion, the perfection of religion is love of God. But it begins, the first step is faith. And how do you get that faith? He already mentioned it. How do you get your faith? Association with devotees. That's key. So what you're saying, what you mentioned, you are proof positive of the process. Because you said, the thing that you've understood now is association. So you're there. You have reached that first level. You're associating with devotees, and what are you getting? Faith. Very, very, from faith, everything else will come. Because the difference between, like you said, I didn't know exactly, but you said you're a beginner, right? So, the difference between a beginner and the most advanced is the degree of faith. This is what Lord Chaitanya teaches. So, you may be a beginner now, but in due course of time, you will be sitting here and you will be speaking about Krishna. Can you see yourself like that?
It's all Krishna's plan?
Yes. I want it to be Krishna's plan. So after the association of devotees, then Prabhupada mentioned bhajana kriya, where you get initiated by a spiritual master and you begin, another word you use, sadhana, practice, daily practice of spiritual exercises. And he mentioned he's reading some or hearing some Harikatha, and then he's chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama. Now there's a next stage, anartha nivṛtti. Everyone again say? Anartha nivṛtti. Getting rid of unwanted things. Unwanted things means things that you used to be attached to, but now because you have a different priority, love of God, now you want to do internal spring cleaning, house cleaning. Get everything that's not necessary. We, as householders, we tend to accumulate more and more things. And you don't realize it until it's time to move. Then you realize, what am I keeping this junk for? Throw it out or give it away. Because that's our problem with householders. We gather, collect, accumulate. And I know people, they've got so much stuff in their house, they're never going to use it. So in the heart also, we have so much stuff that needs to be get out of. Some of it throw in the trash. So that's anartha nivṛtti. So Amit, he asked for, because you could present this in different ways. So he wanted it from a particular book, and I found it, so I'm going to give it to you. So try to hear with rapt attention. Everybody say, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. So anartha nivṛtti means the cessation of unwanted desires. Anartha means unwanted desires in the heart. And nivṛtti means to cease. So there are 4 kinds of anartha. Number 1, dushkritota. Okay, good. Everybody say? Okay, those are anarthas, or unwanted things that come from sinful activities. Now, when we become serious, Prabhupada tells us that we have to give up the 4 major sin groups. There's 4 basic food groups. There's 4 basic sin groups. Killing and eating of animal flesh, intoxication, illicit sex, and gambling, which Prabhupada mentioned in that excerpt. You strictly follow those, you'll be free from sin. And now it goes on. The bad effects of material attachments are envy and anger. So we want to get rid of these. When we are attached to material things, what's going to happen? Enviousness and anger. These are the causes of distress born of sinful activities, dushkriti. So that's the first kind of unwanted thing. Sinful activities, envy and anger. Even Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Kamlesh, how many gates leading to hell? Lust, anger, and greed. Those are the gates leading to hell. Who wants to go to hell? So get rid of those things. Get them out. Throw them away. Now, this next one is very interesting. The second anartha, sukritota. Everybody say. Anarthas coming from pious deeds. Interesting. Yes, this ties into what Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, that if you want liberation, you also have to become detached from material, pious activities. Kamlesh ji, if somebody is successful in their pious activities, what is their reward in the next life? Yes, they go to heaven. But heaven is what? In the material world. Yeah, temporary. So if you want liberation, then you also have to not only be free from sin, you have to be free from pious. Now, this is a problem for a lot of people. Because when they hear that, they go, no, 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 no. I like my house. I like my car. I like this. I like that. Can't be attached. You have to let it go. If Krishna gives you nice place, fine. But Krishna may say no, like Sudama Brahman. Sudama Brahman for his whole life was very, very poor. But he was very happy in his love of God. When Krishna gave Sudama the big palace, and his wife was so happy. Did Sudama's devotion to Krishna change? No, he was the same Sudama. He didn't change. He didn't think, I got from Krishna now, thank you very much. No, his devotion to Krishna remained the same. And Krishna says in the Gita that by following him, you become free from bad effects and materially good effects. Otherwise, if you are attached to those good effects, got to come back and take birth in Irvine or Tustin. No guarantee you'll take birth in India again. Maybe. So that's this. So it says here, the craving for temporary sensual pleasure is also a detrimental desire in the heart, an anartha stemming from pious activity. So that's a good word, craving. We shouldn't crave anything. There's the verse in the Bhagavad Gita, na sochati, na kangshati. Don't lament, don't crave or hanker. Yes, live comfortably, be happy, do your everything, and if Krishna gives you, nice. But if he doesn't give you, don't get angry and say, Krishna, you didn't give me, so I'm going to Ganesh. No, that's not devotee. And when Ganesh fails me, all right, Durga Ma, I'm going to worship Durga. And you keep changing from one god to another until you hit your stock market. No. The devotee's attitude, this is what Krishna is giving me, I'm satisfied. All right, then the next thing. He said there was 4, but here's more comment. Suffering comes from impious deeds, whereas pious deeds facilitates enjoyment of the senses. Some scholars say that sukritota anarthas are part of the 5 causes of distress. So now you're going to learn the 5 causes of distress. First one, everyone repeat. Envy. Pride. Anger. Ignorance. Attachment. So these are the 5 things that are the cause of distress. How many people want distress? Nobody. So these are the things we have to say bye to. All right, here's the 3rd anartha. Aparadhota. Everyone? Anarthas coming from offenses. Offenses to Krishna and everything connected to Krishna. Offenses. And then the 4th one, bhakyuta. Are anarthas coming from the performance of devotional service. So these 2 are very similar. So let's see now what it says. Obstructions on the path of pure devotion are caused by aparadhota anartha, unwanted desires coming from offenses. These offenses refer particularly to nama aparadas, or offenses against the holy name. And they do not include seva aparada, offenses committed in devotional service and in the worship of the deity. Seva aparadas are excluded because conscientious devotees remove such offenses by reciting prayers and constantly performing devotional service, thereby avoiding the possibility of the offense in its seed form growing into a future reaction. Chanting the holy name of the Lord also effectively removes the reactions to seva aparad. Therefore, if a devotee is careless in avoiding seva aparad, thinking that one's chanting will nullify one's reactions to such offenses, then that is an offense against the holy name. The scriptures warn us that committing sins on the strength of chanting the holy name is very serious nam aparad. Although chanting is shown here to be the remedy of curing seva aparad, it is actually the remedy for offenses committed in performing all parts of devotional service. The scriptures state that if a person sins, knowing that later he or she can perform some atonement or prayashchitta in order to absolve themselves, instead of the sins being removed, they become even more serious. In different scriptures, the Supreme Lord states that anyone who tries to serve him, even unsuccessfully, need not be concerned, because the devotee's service, however, is imperfect. So I'm going to read that again. Because the devotee's service, however imperfect, is never wasted. This is what Krishna says in chapter 2 of Bhagavad Gita. Nehabi krama nashosti pratyavayo yavidyate. Any sincere service you do for Krishna is an eternal asset. Eternal asset. You never lose it. So keep that, and that's what it's saying here. It's never wasted. Even if your service is imperfect, doesn't matter. Krishna is known as Bhavagrahi Janardhan. He sees your intention. He sees your wanting to serve him. That's what he takes. Just like with Putana. Putana came to kill Krishna. But Krishna is Bhavagrahi Janardhan. Krishna said, yes, I know she's trying to poison me, but she's offering me her breast. I'll take the good side. He had to kill her. But after killing her, what happened to Putana? She got liberated. Isn't Krishna great? Even you approach him as an enemy, trying to kill him, because you approached him, he takes the good side. Yes, she had to be killed for her own good. Because when Putana came to get Krishna, Krishna could not look at her face. Because although she had disguised herself to look like Lakshmi, and everybody, Krishna's mother, and everybody thought, oh, Lakshmi has come to see Krishna. But Krishna could see through the disguise. And Krishna could not look at the face of Putana. Why? She had killed so many babies. So she was walking sin personified. Her heart was black with sin. So Krishna did not want to look. Then he arranged, he took the milk, he took the poison, he took her life air, and she was screaming, leave me, leave me. And then she assumed a huge body, her original body, 12 miles. Could you imagine that Putana now? It would wipe out a neighborhood. Thank God there's no demons like that. Now, we have little demons now. Republicans, Democrats, little demons. So, any kind of little service sincerely rendered is the eternal fact. Again, Krishna has said that anyone who simply chants a particular 10-syllable mantra attains all perfection. This is the mantra that Lord Brahma chanted in order to create the universe. Do you want to learn this? Yes. Because I'll read it again. Krishna has said that anyone who simply chants a particular 10-syllable mantra. Who wants perfection? All right, fold your hands. Close your eyes. Cling. Gopi Jana. Vallabhaya. Swaha. 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 So you chant that clean, again, clean. Gopi Jana. Vallabhaya. Swaha. You chant that, you will attain all perfection. Yes. All right. Everybody chant the Maha Mantra one time.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama.
So Naveen Madhav. So that means, should I stop chanting Hare Krishna and only chant this? Why? Yes. And will I get all perfection by chanting Hare Krishna Maha Mantra? Yes. But this is another one. So when you get tired of chanting Hare Krishna, you can chant this one. Just like those of you who know Mehta, Krishna Prem Mehta's father, when he was alive, Vidura. So before he met his ISKCON Guru, he was chanting so many times, Sri Krishna Sharanam Mama. So when he wanted to get initiated, Tamal Krishna Goswami said, you don't have to stop chanting. Do your 64 rounds of Sri Krishna Sharanam Mama and add 16 rounds. So Vidura was so amazing. He every day did 64 rounds of Sri Krishna Sharanam Mama and 64 rounds of Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. Yes, he was fired up. All right. So the final part. You like it so far? Absolutely. Okay. You're easy to please. These are the 5 obstacles to the process of anartha nivṛtti. So in other words, there are things which make getting rid of these unwanted things obstacles. So let's hear about that. Devotion that possesses firm commitment and undeviating faith is known as nishtita bhakti. At that stage, when anarthas still persist in the heart of the devotee may try as hard as possible to counteract them by devotional activities. Yet, the 5 internal obstacles, laya, vikshepa, apratipatti, kashaya, and rasasvad, undermine one's attempts to reach steadiness in devotion. Once the anarthas are removed, then these 5 obstacles are almost abolished and devotion becomes firm and undeviating. Therefore, it can be said that the absence of these 5 impediments in the heart are symptoms of nishtita bhakti. These 5 obstacles are defined in the following way. First one, laya. Weakness of having mental lethargy during hearing about the Lord, more lethargy than when chanting. In other words, if hearing about the Lord and you're not so keen, then that's a weakness. And more mental lethargy while remembering the Lord rather than hearing about him. So it's progressive. So we want to overcome the mental lethargy. Like some people, this is how they chant. Hare Krishna. That means mental lethargy. They're not putting the energy. So we have to overcome this lethargy. It's a weakness in the heart. We see the same thing. They're attending a class, and instead of attending the class, they're on the cell phone. Or they're sleeping in the class. That means there's lethargy in hearing. Then the next stage, okay, they like to chant, they like to hear, but as far as remembering throughout the day, there's lethargy there. So that's one of the weaknesses to be overcome. Again, laya. Now the next one, vikshepa. Talking or thinking about mundane nonsense things during devotional activities, such as hearing and chanting. So that's why I said this is the advanced platform. You're dealing with a subject matter here that is for actual practitioners. So even while we're doing devotional activities, we can't allow the mind to think about mundane things. In other words, we have to be attentive. Next one, apratipatti. When even both laya and vikshepa are absent, but at other times one still feels incapable or disinterested in hearing and chanting. So don't lose the taste. Once you get a taste, don't lose it. I've preached about this many times. In the beginning, if you're sincere, Lord Chaitanya gives you a taste. You were talking about this. You now have a taste to go to that parikrama in Vrindavan. And now Krishna is saying, you want to taste more? I'm taking it away. Now let's see if you really want. That's your test coming up. This year you're going to be tested. Will I just say, no? Or will you, I want it. Then the next time you go, next year, now you'll be supercharged. So we can't lose interest. We have to be attentive. The next one, kashaya. The tendency to display faults as anger and greed or arrogance during devotional activities. Kashaya means contamination, dirty things. So we are, how should I say it? Our words should match our activities or actions. So here I am chanting, here I am worshiping, but I'm still exhibiting anger and greed and arrogance. That's why, what did Lord Chaitanya say? What was the first thing I started with? To be meek and humble. That's the key to success. Otherwise, anger, greed, arrogance. All right, number 5. Rasa asvad. Everybody? The mind is now so attached to sense pleasure and even meditating on it that one is unable to hear and chant with concentration. So this is another weakness. Now, you're so caught up that it is like you're not able to even hear and chant. That's when you know you're really in trouble. When you have lost all taste for hearing and chanting, because why? Your mind is attached to sense pleasure. With the removal of these obstacles, the devotee makes progress towards nishtha, or steady devotion. When such bhakti blossoms in the devotee's consciousness, the immediate effect is that one is no longer ruled by anger, greed, or any other influences from the modes of passion and ignorance. The bhakta becomes firmly fixed on the Supreme Lord. The Supreme Lord is always situated in pure goodness, and the devotee experiences divine bliss. This is confirmed in the Srimad Bhagavatam. Please repeat. Tada rajas. Tamo bhava, kama lobadayash, chaye, cheta etire, anavidhang, stitang satve, prasidati. As soon as irrevocable loving service is established in the heart, the effects of nature's modes of passion and ignorance, such as lust, desire, and hankering, disappear from the heart. Then the devotee is established in goodness, and one becomes completely happy. So for me, when I read such things, it solidifies something that Prabhupada often said, that this process is a science. And if you study the books, you can know at every stage of your life where you're at. Just like a doctor, when I go to the doctor, I tell him my symptoms. And because he's a doctor, by telling him my symptoms, he knows, okay, you've got this. Or in India, you might go to the Kaviraj. He feels your pulse. And because he's a Kaviraj, he goes, oh, I know what to do. And then he gives you something. I went to a Kaviraj once in Vrindavan. And he said, okay. And then he prescribed. So in the same way, Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam is your personal Kaviraj. But you have to know it. You have to read it so that you can diagnose. Okay. I could go on for another 2 hours, but we're not going to do that. But there is a Shikshastakam verse which encapsulates anarthas. So here's the verse. Na dhanang, na janang, na sundaring, kavitang ba, jagadisha kamaye, mama janmani, janmanishware, bhavatad bhaktir, ahoitaki twaye. So this one verse of Shikshastakam is like a summary of anarthas. Please repeat. O Lord of the universe. So here it's Jagadish. What's another name for Lord of the universe? Jagannath. Yes. Please repeat. I do not desire, material wealth, materialistic followers, a beautiful wife or husband, or fruitive activities described in flowery language. All I want, life after life. That's significant. The devotee is not even asking for mukti. Life after life. All I want, please repeat. Life after life is unmotivated devotional service to Krishna. Okay. In a half an hour, that's the best I can do. You're always too kind. Everybody chant the Maha Mantra one time. Now, after we